All right. So, once again, good day, everyone, wherever you're logged in from, and we'll be watching afterwards. Today is our final class for soft skill, and I'm missing everyone already. I'm already addicted to getting ready to share from my experience with you guys. I know we started with problem solving and eyes for details, then we moved to communication and networking. Then we went to emotional intelligence and customer service, customer centric. And we did leadership and teamwork last week. And today we're looking at continuous learning and time management. And I'm sure you agree with me that, um, those sessions have been very interesting. And I'm sure you've learned one or two things, to take back to your various offices and even for your personal use. So today we'll be looking at continuous learning and time management. And of course, I'll try to manage the time in good very well so that we can have time for questions and answers. So today we'll be looking at what continuous learning is all about, the key aspect of continuous learning, the benefit of continuous learning. How can we implement continuous learning? I mean, we've heard about it several times. And of course, because we're combining it with time management, we'll look at the significance of time management. How can we identify priorities? How can we overcome procrastination? I'm sure, high percentage of us here have, you know, one bit of procrastination traits, right? And we'll look at how we can overcome that today. And how can we manage distractions everywhere, especially now with social media and all of that. How can you manage that and be focused? How can you delegate your techniques? How can you evaluate and adjust? Plan the techniques and also a call to action. So having said that, continuous learning is actually a process of you acquiring more knowledge, trying to know things around you, learn about various domains, right? Acquire skills, have competency, be able to relate and contribute when you need to. And this happens in both your professional and your personal life. Because again, in your personal life, you learn from your experience, you learn from other people's experience, you read books and all of that. And professionally as well, you want to be the best in your career, you want to be outstanding. So you have to keep learning, right? And of would I say unfortunately in tech, you don't ever stop learning. You learn till you drop because new things come in every day. And if you don't learn, you end up becoming obsolete. So unfortunately, tech, you don't ever stop learning in tech, no matter how old you are, no matter how young you are, you have to keep learning because the knowledge you have yesterday is not enough for you to strive today. New things keep coming up in tech, and that's why it's an interesting profession and is also an interesting place to be. So we'll go quickly to the key aspect of continuous learning. So what are the key aspects? Why? Why do you want to continue learning? There's something called the lifelong learning mindset. You have to have that mindset that, look, I want to improve. I want to improve in my personal life, in my professional life. I want to know what's happening around me. I'm curious, you can't be innovative if you're not curious, if you don't want to learn more, if you don't want to open your mind, if you don't want to grow, right? So you have to have an open mind, ready to assimilate new ideas, ready to take feedback. Remember, I talked about feedback a lot, right? If you don't like to take feedback, there's no way you'd learn because feedback will help you to grow, right? Say to yourself, I want to improve in every aspect of my life. I want to be better than yesterday. I want to outlive my yesterday. I don't want to live a better yesterday, right? And there's something called formal and informal learning. Formal learning and all the professional exams, courses, and all of that we do, right? And the informal learning is what you do for yourself, like things like mentoring, things like reading, podcasts, going through blogs and all of that, working on projects, networking, those are informal learning. And we have another reason aspect of continuous learning is upskilling and reskilling. You can't afford not to do that, especially now that AI is here, and AI is disrupting all sector, no matter where you are. Think about it. Let's have this as a discussion at the end of this class. An area that you think that AI is not disrupting. AI is practically disrupting every sector, right? And you need to upskill, you need to learn more. You can't afford to be where you are. And that's why people say, oh, AI is taking our jobs. No, AI is not taking your job. It will only take your job when you don't upskill, when you don't use AI to help you improve on your job, right? If you don't leverage on AI to improve on your job, that's when AI would take your job. And reskilling is learning new skill. Some of you are probably experts in maybe database administration, but you said, you know what, I want to come and learn Power Apps. That's reskilling. That's looking for something new and something different. Now, another aspect is the micro learning, and just in time learning. There are times that you just say, oh, you know what, this is what is in vogue now, digital marketing. I need to learn digital marketing, and you just learn it for that purpose. Or maybe there's a job opening, a remote job opening, and you have a bit of idea of what that particular role is, but you want to learn more so that when you go for the interview, you can actually you know express yourself very well. That's the just in time learning, right? And it helps you to learn that particular skill. Some of you are doing that right now on this court because you need to change your role, so you're having a just in time learning. And there's something called technology and digital learning as well, where you have the AI driven personalized learning. There's so many of them where you learn things one on one with the AI, right? Or you have virtual reality learning as well. Then there's a workplace learning and the learning and development. For most of you, I'm sure most of the organizations have learning and development department. They call it L&D. The company sends you on training, both local and international. There's a learning culture in your organization. So that's another aspect of continuous learning. So why do we need continuous learning? LA, why should I learn more? Why? I mean, I'd spent 4 5 years in the university learning tech or learning medicine or learning accounting. Why do I have to keep learning? One, you need to grow. Except you want to just remain a fresher or an officer all your life. You don't aspire to become a manager or be on the C-suite level, right? You need to be able to adapt because you want to navigate, the changes that happen in the industry. Just like I said, AI has come to disrupt all the sectors. I mean, if you don't learn, how would you be able to use AI to enhance your work? And that's when AI would probably take your place, right? And of course, for your personal development. I mean, how does it feel like when you go to a place and they're having discussion and you can't even contribute? Even if it's as little as maybe is as I won't say little now, maybe even places like football. People are talking about football and you don't have a clue because you have refused to learn. You're saying, oh, football is for men. They're talking about Arsenal, they're talking about Mayu, and you don't even know what's going on. You don't know what league, you don't know what who is leading on the Premier League, who is leading on, in a certain area. So you need it for your own personal growth and of course to network. There are places you go to, right? As you grow, for those of you that are on the C-suite level, that are managers and above, right? Or, you're head of a team, when there's certain um portfolio you hold in your organization that they ask you to join a club, a recreation club, or they make you, or they offer you as part of your package to join a recreation club. So assuming you join and they're playing golf, right? You're probably, because of your level at work, you joined golf, right? And you refuse to learn anything about it. Like, okay, they registered me at this particular club, so let me just join club or I join swimming and all of that. And maybe after the session, You probably, even if you're an amazing player or an amazing swimmer, after the session, they start talking about business and all of that, politics, and all the things happening around the world, and you can't contribute. You know how you feel, no matter how or how um good you are on that scale of the recreation, but because you cannot offer you cannot contribute in other areas, people won't see you as being intelligent or smart, so you should acquire knowledge, continuous improvement, so that you can engage and speak at other forums that's even outside your career. And of course, for future proofing, you're not obsolete. You're in tune with what's going on. You're up to date with what is happening. Now, how do you improve on your continuous learning? Oh, if you say, oh, Ellie, but I try every once in 3 years, I try to learn something new. Is that a set target for you? You have to set a clear learning goals. You have to have a short-term goal and a long-term goal. Short-term goal is I want to become a co-pilot, AI co-pilot expert, and I want to achieve that in the next 3 months. You have to be determined. Join Textilers course, go on other resources online, get join other register at other paid learning, because you want to achieve your goal. Then you have to have a long-term goal to say in the next 10 years, I want to have a PhD in cybersecurity. I want to, those goals have to be set. You have to delegate time every day. I always tell people use an hour to learn something new every day. When I mean something new, so you can say, okay, I'm starting with cybersecurity. So for the next 6 months, I'm going to be learning cybersecurity. But every day, I want to learn something. I want to read something about cybersecurity. So are you taking 30 minutes? Are you taking 1 hour? Just make it an habit. Be dedicated. Use tools, that would help you to manage your learning process, or to track your learning. There's so many tools. I've put some here: Notion, Evernote, Trello, name it. You can use so many tools just to help you. Even your normal calendar on your phone would give you a reminder and help you track where you are and what you've read. And join communities. Go on LinkedIn, join Textilers, go on YouTube, subscribe, do a lot of meetups anywhere there is tech meetup that resonates with what you're learning. Make sure that you attend. Then apply knowledge to your projects and also by teaching others. So what you've learned, try and build something out of it. Don't just learn it and keep it and like, okay, I'll wait till I have the opportunity to use my skill in an office. While you're there looking for that job, or you're thinking of changing your job, look at something around you within your house that you can automate, that you can turn into a project and use your skill to work on it, right? Assuming you learned about phishing in cybersecurity, don't wait till you get a job where you can demonstrate that. Start looking at how you can identify phishing email on your in your own personal life, in your in your email accounts, right? And try as much as possible also to try and teach others. Look for people around you. I'm like, oh, I just learned this new skill, I want to teach you. It helps you to even learn more as well. Now we move to time management. So why is time management very, very important? And that, continuous improvement and time management sync. So why is it important to have time management? Of course, for efficiency, because if you don't have time management, time is one precious thing that you cannot buy back. Even if you're a trillionaire or a zillionaire, right? You can't get it back. Once you lose that time, it's gone. It's the grace of God that would give you like another opportunity to be able to achieve what you intended to achieve at that particular time that you lost. So, for efficiency, you need to be able to optimize how you use your time, because that will help you and will give you, the results that you need. And of course, again, productivity is helps in time management because it helps you to do better. If you have time management skills, right? You'll be able to plan yourself, and make sure that you achieve. Remember the to-do list I told you guys about, right? We're going to talk more about it in this session. So with time management and knowing what to do and when to do it, you become very productive. And it gives you a balanced life, right? Because you've been able to manage your time in 24 hours. I'm going to use 8 hours to sleep. I'm going to use 2 hours to watch a movie. I'm going to use 1 hour to learn something new. I'm going to use another 1 hour to, hang out with my friends, another 30 minutes to check my social media handles and all of that. So you have a balanced life. You don't have any mental stress or mental whatever or depression and everything. Your life is peaceful, and of course, again, it reduces, stress. Now, how do you now identify what you have to prioritize? You probably say, Ellie, there's so much to do. 24 hours is not even enough. I used to be there. Trust me. I used to be there. I just ask people, how do they do it? When I sleep for 2 hours in the night, then I used to sleep for maximum of 2 hours in the night. Within that 2 hours, my brain is still active and working because I'm like, oh, I've not done this. I've not completed this. I still have this outstanding, so I get to work and I'm like, how do you guys do it? Right? And that's when I started learning about identifying priority. You need to set goals, clear, define goals, as in what do you want to achieve. The life will move on if you do not complete that um task for the day. And that's why to-do list is very important. Use to-do list, either digital or manual, as it pleases you. But set the goals. If you don't set the goals, you'll be confused. You won't be able to prioritize. You need to also categorize those goals to say, okay, um, personal goals in this bucket, professional goals in this bucket, under the personal goals, you say family time in this bucket, friend time in this bucket, personal time in this bucket, right? If you don't categorize it, you just find out that you've misplaced your priorities. Then you can use tools as well, different kind of matrix to do that. You put one as urgent and important, right? When you categorize, you put another one as important but not urgent. So there's a difference. It's urgent, it has to be done now, and it's very important. But this one is important, but it's not urgent. So I can always do it at the end of the day, And you put urgent but not important. It's urgent though, but if I don't do it, it's fine, right? Then you now do not urgent or important. So I can afford to take that tax for that day to the next day, right? That's what that means. Now, how do you now overcome this procrastination that I'm talking about? You need to understand the reason for this procrastination. Why do I always procrastinate? Remember the story I told you that, even in the 2 hours then that I managed to put my head on my pillow to sleep, my brain is still working, right? So for me, I was able to understand the cause of my procrastination because I realized I wasn't having enough rest, so the things I need to do, and I was so anxious, I was always anxious, like, oh, am I going to finish this? How am I going to do this? Of course, the imposter syndrome too was there, and everything was just all around. I was just all scattered, even though I was trying so hard and I thought I was working hard, but I wasn't working smart. So you need to know the cause of your procrastination. Why do you always procrastinate? Is it that you spend more hours gisting with your friends or being on social media, and by the time you look at it, oh, the day has come to an end. I can't do this task again. I'm pushing it till tomorrow, right? So you need to be able to identify that, and you need to set small goals, achievable goals. Use smart, right, to set those goals. Don't set goals that are ambiguous, goals that are. It's good to dream. Trust me, I'm a dreamer. I love to dream big. I don't even dream small. I dream big, as in dreams that are out of dreams that when I tell you, you'll probably like, okay, Ellie, just calm down, come back to earth. But then again, I didn't just get there in a day, it was a gradual thing. So you need to set small goals. If you know you have an issue with procrastination, set small goals, and whatever tasks you have. Oh, this weekend I need to attend soft skill training. I need to attend um, maybe power apps, right? Then those are your goals for the day. Now you need to break it down. Soft skill training is 9 to 10. Maybe power apps is 10 to 12 or something. Break down those goals and see that yes, you can achieve it, right? And gradually you begin to grow. Becomes a pattern. It becomes your lifestyle, right? And it will help you to now set bigger goals that you can achieve, and you see that you've overcome, procrastination. Then use like there's something called 2 minutes rule. If a task can be done in 2 minutes, do it. Don't say, oh, okay, I'll do it later. You know how we do that thing? Let me quickly finish this movie on Netflix. I'll do it later. No, if it's going to take you 2 minutes to do it so that you cancel that out of your to-do list. If you have a to-do list and at the end of the day, you look at it and you're checking out all the things you've done, you'll be excited with yourself and proud of yourself to see that you've done like at least 80% of those things. But when you look at your to-do list and maybe you procrastinate and you see that there are some things that you could have just done in a second, maybe like call your mom, call your dad, call a friend, talk to LA, have a mentoring session. And all these are on your to-do list for today, but you were not able to achieve it because you allowed other things to distract you. You'll be so upset with yourself. So make sure that all those things you can do within 2 minutes, it's called 2 minutes rule, just clear it off. Then have a reward and consequences. What's it called now? Have this reward and consequences for yourself to say, look, if I complete 80% of my tasks on my to-do list, I'm going to buy myself ice cream. I'm going to, give myself a treat. I'm going to buy myself pizza. I'm going to do this, do that, right? And if I don't get up to 40%, these are the consequences. LA, you're not going to sleep until 12 midnight. So if you have that and you check yourself, you realize that you are able to manage, your procrastination because you're doing an audit of yourself, you're appraising yourself, and it helps you to grow because nobody's going to do it better than you. Even if you feel, oh, they do appraisal at work and all of that, trust me, nobody can love you much more than you love yourself. So you need to tell yourself the hard truth that, look, um I'm the only one that can help myself grow. And that is part of self-love, right? Now, how do you now manage distractions? Because you're probably like, Ellie, you don't understand. Hey, Ellie, I'm married. I have children. I have twins. You don't get it. I'm a lady. I'm not a guy. But then again, other people have done it, so it's not a big deal. You need to be able to put yourself in that position that, look, you can do it as well, right? Remember what I always say, you're first human before your gender. So don't allow that to distract you or to make you feel less competent to do what you need to do. So you need to identify the distraction. What's the distraction? Okay, you've got twins. You come back from work, you're exhausted because of traffic, you live like miles away from the office and all of that. Take away the noise, the distractions, things that would distract you. Learn to, manage those things that would distract you. Recognize them. One, you need to identify them. So how do you mitigate this thing that it doesn't distract you again? Maybe you spend 1 hour gisting with LA every time you come back from work. Say, look, LA, I have a target, right? That at 1 hour gist is not going to work. Can we do like 30 minutes or 15 minutes every day? I love you, girl, but I need to, be focused for this particular period of my life. So just help me to be focused, right? You've taken away 30 minutes out of the gist time you have with Ellie and you put it somewhere else. Now, you need to create a work zone where you would like establish a distraction-free work environment. LA comes, your colleague at work, and you always go for lunch for 1 hour. You have this lunch time that you always go hang out and all of that. And you know that you have tasks that you need to deliver. You just say, look, LA, you know what? You see that 1 hour lunch time is not going to work again. I've decided to be bringing sandwich to work, and that's my lunch because this period I need to deliver on this project. I need to deliver on this task. I need to improve on my personal life. I need to improve on my career. I'm not saying you shouldn't have friends, but there are times where you need to know how to say no, because of what you're looking at, what you want to achieve, right? And you need to set your time limits For everything you do, set your time limits. Say to yourself, from today, I'm spending only 1 hour in 24 hours on social media. I don't care. I'll put a timer from 8 a.m. in the morning till 9 a.m. in the morning. Any gist or whatever I do not check within that time, tough luck. I don't care. I'll wait till tomorrow. You need to learn to discipline yourself. Nobody's going to do it for you. No matter how you think, oh, people love you, trust me, nobody can live your life for you like you would, right? So you need to allocate time for everything you do. That's the only way you can manage distraction. Now you need to use techniques as well when you do things so that you don't get burnout when you're working, right? You need to say for every I'd say for every 1 hour I took a break, right? If it is a break to just flip through my phone, a break to take a walk, a break to drink water, a break to take a bathroom break, even if I don't feel like, just to stand up and get a bit distracted, look at something else apart from the work I'm doing, then come back, you feel refreshed. Now, how there's something called delegate techniques. How do you delegate techniques? You need to be able to identify delegable techniques. It's not all tasks you can delegate, because there are some tasks that if you delegate and it goes wrong, the axe is going to come on your head no matter what. Your boss will be like, what, why would you do that? Why are you the boss? So you need to be able to determine the people you can delegate to and the tasks that you have to delegate. As a matter of fact, if you do not delegate and you're a manager on this call, then yeah, I don't know how you got to your managerial position, because one of the criteria of being a manager is the ability to delegate. So don't look at it as in, oh, if I delegate very well, that means they will think I'm not I'm not suitable to be here, or I'm not relevant anymore. No, the ability for you to delegate. You remember what I told you when we're talking about leadership, that a leader is someone that can build more leaders, that can grow more leaders, that can birth more leaders. So you should be able to delegate and know what to delegate. And you need to choose the right person. Remember, you need to choose the right person to delegate. Don't delegate to someone that is sloppy, someone that will make your work bad, someone that that does not have your back, someone that you can't even you don't have access to, in the sense that the person, you give the person the task, the person takes off, or is not doing the job, or something just goes wrong, right? You need to provide clear instruction. Remember when we're talking about communication, your instruction has to be clear. The objective, what you need. Blessing, I need you to deliver on this in the next 30 minutes. Let it be clear. Let her know the consequences of not delivering. Let her know how urgent it is, right? Then you need to monitor the progress. Because you delegate doesn't mean you should go and sleep and like, yes, for it's time to gist. Moses, let's talk. What's going on? Joanne, did you watch that movie yesterday? No, that's not the time to do that. That's the time to also do a spot check to say, oh, Oyin, how you doing? I hope the job is coming up well. Oh, Adeyinka, do you have any issue? Do you need me to come in? Do you need me to step in? Right? So you need to monitor the progress. Now, this we'll look at evaluation and adjustment, still under time management. So you need to review the performance, right? Assess how well you have followed your plan. Do like a 360 appraisal for yourself, right? Do like a survey, a review of yourself. So you can say every week, I want to review where where I am or what I've done in the over the week, or you can say every month. So you take a dedicated time to say every last Sunday of the month, after service or after mocks or whatever, I want to dedicate my time to review what I've done over the months, my achievements, my goals, did I meet it, my targets, my budget, and all of that, right? Then you need to identify areas of improvement. Okay, I didn't do well here. I think next month, this is where I'm going to, I'm going to grade this 90% so that I can meet my target of 90%. Oh, when it comes to learning new skills, I think I got 70%. My target will be 90%. So I'll try and work towards 90%. And you need to also adjust your plan. If you realize that, look, after doing a review of the whole month, there's things that you're struggling with. I mean, we are all human. You need to learn to adjust your time to say, look, Ellie, you're taking too much than you can swallow. So you need to calm down. You don't need to have three certification in a year. Let's start with one. Next year would improve to two certification in a year. The following year we can improve to three in a year, right? But then again, you need to keep learning every day. Remember, take like a minimum of 1 hour to learn something every day. You can learn online, you can learn through social media. Be deliberate on who you follow on social media or what you follow. Don't just follow all the jokes and everything. Follow things that are very productive, things you can learn from. On X, follow people that talk, even if politics, if it's football, if it's tech, follow people, not all the jokes all the time, and you're just laughing all day. You've wasted 24 hours doing that. Now, how do you plan these techniques? Remember, I talked about to-do list. I think every week I'd mentioned to-do list. To-do list is very important. And the reason is because it helps you. You can look at what you've done the whole day, and you can check out the things that you've achieved and the ones that are still pending, and you can take that to the next day. It just helps you to be organized. It helps you to be prim and proper. For me, I've used to-do list for over 2 decades, and I can tell you for free that to-do list has been very helpful for me. And I'm not sure I can even ever stop using to-do list. I use it for both personal and official. So what I do is I put all my tasks there. I put them into different buckets, and I also put timeline. So you're there, you have a reminder, you have a to-do list, you have something you're focused to do. If you don't have a focus or a goal, or it's not written, you don't even know. Sometimes you don't even your direction. You just go in various directions. You don't even know where to stop or when to start and all of that. Then you have to have a time blocking. Remember, I said that you need to allocate, specific time for what you do. Is it 1 hour for social media? Is it 2 hours for sleeping? Is it 3 hours for catching up with friends and families? You need to have that. Then always keep a calendar. You can't remember everything. That's why you have the system. That's why you have tools. That's why you have AI. That's why you have things around you that can help you. Don't feel like a superstar. Oh, yes, my brain. I need to make my brain work well. I need to try and put everything in my head and remember. No, you need a calendar, to help you to navigate the day. And that doesn't mean you're less smarter than other people. No, it just shows that you're even more smart. You're smarter than other people because you can organize yourself. You can use tools to help you. And even in tech and you're not using tools because you're trying to form smart, well, you need to check the tech you are in. I'm sure it's not the tech that we are all in, right? So you need to make sure that you use tools around you to, organize yourself. That's why those tools are there for us to use. Now, call to action. What are the call to action? Apply techniques, implement all that we've discussed. Try as much as possible to implement it. I'm sure by the time you come for the next cohort, or when we're having our inspiration session, or maybe in the group, you would want to drop a line to say, oh, Ellie, guess what? I actually implemented what you said and it's working for me. I no longer procrastinate. I think I have a better life. I have a good mental balance. I'm able to, achieve more and all of that. Then you need to set priorities. Remember, you come for self-love. It's not that you're being selfish. I'm a very selfless person, but I've come to realize over the years that look, if you don't love yourself, you can't love others. So you need to prioritize things. You need to identify, what is important in your life, what you want to achieve. You need to be focused and say, look, I need to get this. And there has to be an end goal because you don't just want to get it, you want to get it for a reason. Why did I acquire all the knowledge I acquired? Because I also want to be able to give out to others at some point. I'm not acquiring it so that they say, oh, Ellie has 40 professional certifications. So what? But what am I doing with it? I'm teaching others, I'm building others, I'm blessing others with this, right? Then you need to always evaluate yourself. If you don't evaluate yourself regularly, I mean, you can't improve. There's no way. That's why there's something called exam. That's why there's something called appraisal. That's why there's something called feedback, because you need to go back and say, oh, where did I go wrong? What can I do to improve? What am I doing well that I need to be consistent with, right? So that's very important. So I haven't said that. I like to conclude by saying effective time management is very, very important, and it boosts your productivity. If you are able to manage your time, you are able to do well, you are able to achieve more, and you are able to have a work-life balance. And when you identify priorities, when you plan effectively and you ensure that distractions are out of the way, I'm sure you can reach your goal. It's never too late. This is half year. Say to yourself, the next half year, I want to implement this, and I want to be able to put everything together and see how I'll be better off than last year. So I haven't said that. I'd like to say a big thank you to everyone for listening. Like I said earlier, I'm going to miss this session, and I'm glad that we've learned one or two things for the past 5 weeks that we've been having this soft skill. Can we have questions and answers now? Thank you. Over to you, Blessing.
Wow, thank you very, very much. I think this session was more for me than it is for everyone. Argue with yourself. Really, I learned a whole lot. I think for me, I'm even more distracted than anything. But I love the fact he said we should set time for things, learn to take a break, set limits, delegate tasks that has to be delegated, then always go back, review. I think the one that even speaks to me the most is after setting those goals, go back at the end of the month or the period, the target, the period you set for it, review, check if you actually met it or not. Because sometimes you may even achieve the goals, but maybe we didn't achieve it as we expected, and then I get to beat myself. But maybe reviewing helps to see that okay, you came close and you did not. So these are the things you have to do. Thank you very much for that. Oh God, Ruka says she's in the anxiety and distraction phase now. Oh, it gets the most of us. Yes. So questions. Thank you very much, Ellie. This session is really for me. Questions.
You're
We have
welcome.
questions. We have contributions from anyone.
We can ask questions from previous sessions as
Session.
well,
Yes.
or any question even outside this, any question whatsoever. I'm here. I'm happy to speak.
If you have any question, do well to raise your hand and I'll mute you. Okay. So Emmanuel says timekeeping skill is a great skill. Yes, it applies in all facets of our life, every single thing. If you're a good time manager, you'll be able to achieve more from the little time because you don't need 24 hours we have. By the time you blink your eye, it's night, and the next thing is morning, and you're looking at yourself that you've not done anything. So it's not a skill we pick up and drop. But again, that's why we have session. Okay, we have someone raising her hand. Your mic has been enabled. You can unmute.
Thank you. Yeah, I can speak now. Thank you so much, Blessing. Thank you so much, Ellie. In every week, there's always this new banger, like you're speaking to me. I mean, it's always so amazing listening to you. Thank you so much, ma. Okay, so
you remember when I said that leaders create leaders, right? So if you've identified that, look, this is a distraction to you, start pumping in knowledge into them. Start getting them to, leave the talk. You understand what I mean? I know there's some that you probably have tried to teach them, pour the knowledge, pump the knowledge and everything. But you see, another issue I've realized is some of us allow our emotions to rule us, especially as team lead. Now we say, oh, I don't want to grade this person. I don't want to grade Rukayat's B in appraisal. Oh, I don't want to write bad things about Rukayat. Rukayat comes to my house over the weekend, we hang out and all of that. No, you can't afford to add sentiment. So you need to treat that person like what, when I was in paid employment, what I do is I treat you as professional as I can while you're at work. After work, then we can hang out. So I have my team, we do the work and they know me. I use the carrot and the stick. But afterwards, I can say, you guys, let's go and hang out at the club. And that's it. But at that moment, otherwise, you find out that you're burnt out, you're overwhelmed. You don't have anyone that can do the tax, right? So in that case, if you have a tax that you know that there's no one to delegate at the moment, please do it yourself. But try as much as possible and say to yourself, before the end of this year, I will make sure that I have a 2IC. 2IC is someone that has your back. I'll make sure that I train someone that can do what I can do. Because one, it's not because don't be afraid that you lose your job. You have the competency. But just because there are times where you can't do it all and you need help, who can you turn to? So don't be in the workplace and let people feel, oh, so do it in such a way that you've created a succession plan, that if you decide to leave, because you also should look at opportunities of moving forward. You don't want to stay in that company till you get retired. You should look for opportunities where you move forward to maybe a bigger company or you become an entrepreneur, right? But if you don't create a succession plan, then you're not a good leader. Then you've not been able to impact. But in your own case, in this situation, please do that job so that you can save the situation and save the company, right? But say to yourself, priority number one, before the end of this year, I'm going to create another that will be able to do what I want so that when you need to do other things, other personal things, you have a there too that is there at the office that can do what you need to do. Does that help? I'm sorry, it's a hard truth, but I have to say the way it is. But I hope that helps for everyone, right?
Yes, it helps.
Okay, all right.
But
Really
that
helpful, ma. Thank you. I
this
was
one
trying
is
to unmute. I don't know what happened. Thank you so much, ma. That was really helpful. But what's the full meaning of ICP?
The military term that they use, if you say you have an IC2, like someone that has your back, I know it's a military term kind of, that they use that, oh, I've got backing, I've got my second in command. Yeah, that's it. That like a second in command, yeah.
all right.
Thank you so much, Ma, for that beautiful presentation. So my question is that sometimes I face like unplanned interruption, say from my kids during the day, like, oh, mommy, I want to poo now, or, demanding for something. Or let's say a call from someone you can't say no to. You can't reject the call, say mother-in-law or even your mom. And then, you talk for minutes and you have things you're doing at that moment. So how do I manage my time better to stay focused and also, let's say, still meet their needs at that
Excellent
moment?
question. Excellent question. Thank so when you're planning your time, apologies, I didn't mention that. There should be a time slot for miscellaneous, right? Time slot for unplanned. And the good thing about that time slot is that if you don't have that kind of situation in that day, you can pick up other tasks that you've planned that for the next day. So what do I mean? So you have your 24 hours, 6 hours to sleep, 1 hour to do this, 1 hour to do that, and all of that. Then you have the 1 hour for miscellaneous or unplanned, right? Meanwhile, you know that tomorrow there's a task that is not urgent and not important. Remember that metrics I told you. So you can, if you still have that 1 hour at the end of the day, you can pick from that tomorrow and work on it. But if you don't, and you have that unplanned, like you said, please give them that time, because after work, after everything, family comes first, right? But then again, in giving them that time, remember you have allocated 1 hour a day for unplanned. So if mother-in-law or momsy or your kids are taking into that 1 hour or longer, right? You need to say, you know what, mommy, can I call you back? You know, this stuff, I understand what you're going through, but can we have this discussion tomorrow? I promise you, I'll come up with a solution. Right now, I can't think straight about this. Or your kid is not going to tell you use your 1 hour in a day to say, I want to pour, and all of that. After you had allocated the normal family time. Remember, I said personal time to be allocated. So after you've allocated the normal 2, 3 hours for spouse and children, but in the unplanned, and you think they've used up that time, and in the unplanned, your kid will not say, Mommy, I want to go to the bathroom like for a whole hour or in between for a whole hour. You understand what I mean? But try as much as possible. But if there are cases where you can't even get out of it, you're stuck in that box, then start having a mental um readjustment to your time to say, okay, I'd said 1 hour for social media, so I'm going to reduce 1 hour from social media to 15 minutes because this urgent call has to be fixed and I need 45 minutes out of that. Do you understand? So you just reprioritize that. I mean, I'm sure in one of those calls, by God's grace, maybe next year we'll do Scrum Agile training, and I'd love to take that so that I'll teach you how to reprioritize. So you just prioritize your tasks to say, okay, you know what? I'm not watching DSTV. I'm not watching African Magic. I'm not watching this particular, or I'm not going out to hang out, or I'm not going to call LA for gist. That time has been taken over by mother-in-law or by spouse or by, you understand what I mean? So that's where you can readjust and reallocate. Say, good. Thank you. Any other question? Comments, contributions? Addition, subtraction.
No addition, no subtraction. It's very interesting. One thing I like about these sessions is that we always need it. So it's more like a reminder. We listen to it, we get power packed, and then by the time we carry on and life comes up, next thing you find yourself falling back. That's if you've not built yourself to tailor, or you've not built yourself to fit in, or you've not adapted it fully. But once you're able to adapt it, then you see yourself living by it. So thank you very much. We finished in record time. So it will be good for us to take it in, take notes of these sessions,